trying a different camera angle this week, up, to the side, to the left, and so that you can see what I'm doing and also see me, and we'll try it. So maybe a different one next week. The sun's a little bit in my eyes, so apologies for squinting. This week, I know I said last week I was going to do colour mixing theory, but I decided not to do that because I figured that it would be really dull and it's boring. So, so I'm going to do, after a couple of suggestions from people, I'm going to do some potato printing. I know this might seem a bit like primary school, but you can actually get really lovely effects with potato printing. It's just basically a form of relief printing that we do, like we do with lino in the studio, or wood carving, but it's just something you can do at home. If you haven't got the tools for lino and for wood carving, then you can do this. And it's really good to do with children because it's easy, although the carving bit might be a bit dangerous, but I'm going to do a couple of examples. I'm going to do it on fabric, and I'm also going to do it on paper. I thought I'd have a go at it on fabric because it's really nice for a repeat pattern. So if, say for example, you had some plain pillowcases or something that you were just bored of at home, and you could even like napkins or tea towels or plain things, you could buy some fabric paint, which is relatively cheap, off online, and you could print a pattern on your pillowcase or your tea towel or your napkin, and then you've got a nice sort of thing to use that you've made, which is really nice also. And then I'll also show you on paper. The things react slightly differently, the absorbency of things on fabric to paper, so that's why I'm going to show you both. And you can use, I'm going to use inks. You can use acrylic paint, you can use inks, you can use dyes. So if at home, if you haven't got any paints, you can put some, say things like turmeric in some water and make a yellow paste, sort of thickish, well not thin, single cream consistency, and then paint that on. Always paint it on with a paintbrush though, because if you dip it in, which a lot of people do, it just goes splodgy and loses all the definition. And you can use beetroot. You could make a dye with raw beetroot, so you boil the beetroot and then you mush it through a piece of muslin, and then you get a really beautiful red dye from that, which is really nice. But you have a little look on the internet if you've got access to it. Well, you probably do because you're watching this video. But yeah, anyway. No, have a little look online, see what you can make paint from, because the pigments and stuff are really, pigments in lots of things that you find naturally in nature. If you're going out for one of your daily walks and you want to, you know, experiment, you can forage things that make really lovely dyes, things like dandelions, avocado stones. If you eat a lot of avocados, you can make really beautiful dye from, it's kind of like a really lovely dusty pink from those. So yeah, do some research. However, whoops, back to the video. I've done, to try and improve on my usual watching me do something like this. I did some this afternoon, earlier on this afternoon, beforehand, so that we could just, I could show you a little bit of the basic carving of a potato, and then I've already got some shapes that I've done at home. So I had a little go at a face here. Not a very realistic face, but, and I've just done some simple, they've gone a bit shriveled actually in the sun. Where's the other potato? Oh, it's here. And then those sort of simple, really simple, but when they're layered and layered up and overlaid in different colours, they're really lovely on for a pattern, repeat pattern. And because we do a lot of that in the studio, we do a lot of, we're thinking about things for surface pattern and textile design. It's quite relevant, and so anything you come up with and you post on that you think we could use in the studio for a print, then great. And then there's like a little star thing here. And then there's also a triangle, which I'm just going to alternate. I've already just done a couple of tests on some paper, but triangle, which you can do upside down, obviously that way and that way and that way. It's very versatile, the triangle. That, I believe, is a isosceles triangle. 2 matching sides, two matching angles, not one knot. Is that right? I don't know. Anyway, and there's some half crescent moon things as well. I've played around with a bit, but they have started to the water's coming out of them, so they've started to go a bit weirdly crinkly at the edges, which is a bit annoying, but so I better crack on. So first things first, I think we'll do some fabric ones. If you've got something fabric that you're going to use, tape it down at the corner so that it's got a bit of tension here, like that. Otherwise you'll be struggling to kind of to print with them because it'll just go blobby and weird. I've got a selection of paints here. I've got silk paint because this is silk. I've also got just normal textile paint. But yeah, like I said, you can get that on Amazon easily, and it can come in little pots. I've got one here, little ones like this. They're really good. And just have an experiment. That's the best thing to do, like always. Get a... I should probably show you the carving first. I'll do that. Sorry, trying to think ahead. So basically, all you need for this is a potato. You can use beetroot as well, but then it will just be red. I believe swede works quite well as well, like hard root vegetables. So there's a potato here, I've got that, and a kitchen knife, paring knife, ideally. I've got this one from the studio, but it's about as blunt as the back of my hand. No, that's not the right expression, is it? My hand is, oh, never mind, you know what I mean. So I'm actually going to use a scalpel, just because I wouldn't get very far otherwise. And I don't know if you can see, I'm going to just carve a simple shape. I might cut that in half, actually. I'll do it in half. No, I'll do it in half that way. So I'm going to cut that in half. Maybe I'll... So I've already got some half shapes. Do you know what? I'm going to cut it into... no, I'm going to cut it in half. I'm going to cut it in half like that. So I've got that half semicircle. And then I'm going to... What should I do with it, just to show you? I'll cut some lines in it. So what you want to do is, a bit like with lino, you want to cut... how am I going to show you? I'll just have to do it and show you after. You just want to cut, like make a mark with your blade where you want to cut. Make a mark. So I'm going to make two. You can't really see, but I've made 2 lines, and just gently, sort of, it's a bit like an operation. You gently just sort of ease out the wedge of potato that you've just cut. So you want to get a little, and the key to this is keeping your sides straight so that you get a crisp line. So try not to sort of butcher it so that you get you want an even flat surface. Like with any relief printing, you want a really, really flat, smooth, even surface that the ink will pick up on all the way across. Otherwise you'll get blotchiness and weird blobbiness where you want definition. So I've cut that groove. I haven't quite got that bit out, so I'll just get that bit out. I'm getting potato all over my silk now. And then I'll just cut that one. Just do a really simple one, so you're not just... Oops. So you can see just some like nice grooves, and I know it just looks like a potato at this point, but when you apply ink, it's just like a printing plate really. It's just a surface that you can use as a block. So it's block printing really. It's block printing at home. A bit out there. I'm going to make these wider as I go along because it's easier. And then just sort of slice it out really gently with the section of the end of your knife. Like that. And if you're doing this ever with children, then obviously don't let them use a knife. There you go. So I've just got a simple, get any bits out. I didn't cut that very straight actually, the potato, but I've just got a simple shape. So now what I do with this is I'm just going to get a bit of tissue and just take off any excess moisture like this on a bit of tissue, because potatoes are they have a huge amount of water in them. So just dampen, otherwise the ink kind of just runs. And I'm going to get my bit of paper just to test out. I'll just get a bit of paper first and test it out. Get a paintbrush, any paintbrush will do, like a little-ish paintbrush. I'm going to get some normal, not textile paint, so that one there, it's just normal ink. And brush it onto the potato like this. And just gently, like I said, if you can use paints, acrylic paints or any paints, watercolour paints, fine. Just don't dip. I know I've seen it a lot when people dip the potato into a pool of paint, and that way you'll just get blobbing when you push it down, because there's an excess amount of ink or sorry, colour material on there, it'll just blob. A bit like when you put a bit too much ink on your lino plate and it goes, and you just have a horrible splodge. So you get this, and then you just get your paper and just try and be kind of, well, it's quite nice if you're doing block printing to be quite methodical. So just line up your potato like that and gently press on the paper. Oh, that didn't work. I don't think I've cut the potato very evenly, actually. It was a terrible example. Press a bit harder. There you go. Oh, that's a really bad example. So that's how not to do potato printing. I've cut the potato really wonkily, so it's really uneven and rubbish. So I've kind of showed you the idea, so I'll use the ones I did earlier on instead. Here's one I made earlier. So I'll just get some paint again. Maybe I'll try a different one, like that one. And a different colour ink. Blue on it. So, bit of ink on there, and just gently align it if you're doing lots of them, and just press it down gently. And it just prints a nice, lovely shape. So you can then you could do them all the same way around, or you could alternate the design so it's coming, it will print a few times actually. And you get, oh, I forgot to mention actually, the paper that, if you're going to use paper for this, it must be a thick paper that has a lot of absorbency. So I'm just using thick, really thick 250 gram cartridge paper. But you can use bags, like, paper bags. That they're a good thickness. If you don't have access to paper at home, artist paper, just anything you can find really. This is just like every week, it's all about playing around with your materials and with what you can do at home as well. And well done everyone that posted their charcoal things. They were all really lovely, and I think they worked. They just worked really well on all of your lovely drawings. So well done, thank you. So now I'm just going to try with the green. And I'll just show you quickly on the paper, and then I'm going to go on to the fabric, because that's what I want to do. I want to use fabric. So I might, I was thinking about this last night. I really want to make a set of pillowcases for my bed. So I was going to use this as a practice, and then do that at home. And then just remember, if you do it on fabric, you need to fix the fabric with heat. So fix the dye. So like we do with the screen printing ink, we just iron it for 4 minutes, and then it should wash. But don't quote me on that, because I might be wrong. I'll have to check that, because I'm not sure about silk paints and how they work so much as the same as screen printing ink, but I'll let you know about that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just try and overlay and see what happens with my potato with a different colour and a different way round, and it looks sort of reasonably interesting, I suppose. I'm going to try another. I'll just put a bit more on. See what it does. Try it slightly to the right. Yeah, that's quite nice. It's like a nice sort of double, and you could try it with complementary colours or contrasting colours, so that you get a sort of 3D effect. That would be quite nice as well. That's the basic principle. So I'm going to go on to fabric now. I've got this sort of silk fabric. I'm not sure of the exact name of it. I did just try it on a silk handkerchief and it bled a lot, but I was using the wrong ink, I think. So that's my first attempt, which is terrible. It looks like a sort of superhero with a mask on. So I'm going to continue with this piece, and I'll keep holding it up to show you. What time are we on? 14 minutes. I'm determined to make this one 20 minutes, not 22 minutes or 23 minutes or 21 minutes. 20 minutes, so I've got 6 minutes. So I'm going to turn that around. I'll just show you what I did before. This prints quite nicely, this little face on the silk. You can see there. Works quite well, and that is literally just carving a potato and ink and a piece of fabric. So, and that's, you could do that all the way over, and you could have it upside down, each alternately, and that's just, you could wear that around your neck or around your head, or just have it. Just look to look at. Just tape this down again because otherwise it's going to go all over the place. I'll tape it down, but I will show you. I realise the camera angle's not great, but I thought it was a good compromise. What I need is a camera here and a camera here, but I'm not that technologically advanced yet, so I can't do that, but might get there one day. So I'm going to get my face. Where is it? Lost it. Where did it go? Oh, it's here, right in front of me. Right in front of me. So I'm going to get some blue. Actually, I'm going to do it in red because I really like that red. So I'm going to get a paintbrush. Preferably it's used red already. Here you go. I'm going to paint my. I'm not sure if it's going to pick up the blue. It probably will actually. Oh well. We'll give it a go. Yeah, so it's picking up the blue that I already printed it on, so it's a bit gross. It'll probably make a horrible brown, but we'll give it a go. Oops. So you just want to gently cover all your raised areas in a nice coating of ink. Not too much, just enough. And then you just want to gently hold, and don't press too hard on the material because it bleeds, so just gently hold your potato down on there. And I'm going to do an upside down one next to it. And then put a bit more ink on. Might even try some pink. See, the first one bleeds loads and the second one doesn't. So if you do want to not have a really bleedy one, then I would recommend doing getting a scrap piece and having that on the side. So if you're going to do, if you say for example you were doing your final piece, like a proper piece, have a scrap piece that you can just do the first print on so that it bleeds off, if you see what I mean. Because that's just bleeding loads and losing all its definition. So again, I should probably do that, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to gently press. Like that. And where I haven't properly taped the fabric down, it is going a bit weird. So that's really important. A bit like when we do with screen printing, really. You really want to tape it down and get that tension. So it's looking relatively interesting. I'm not sure about the red on the fabric. It looks a bit like I've sort of murdered somebody. So I might try a different colour. I'm going to try this fluorescent pink here. It's a bit thick, this stuff, so I don't know how this is going to work, but we shall have a go. Ooh, that's really blobby and weird. Oh dear. Well, it's worth a shot, I suppose. See what happens. Oh, that's actually quite nice. It works quite well. It's a bit thicker actually, so it doesn't run as much, which is nice. So you can see, I can show you how that's come out. So the top line, whoops, is kind of a bit weird colour, but the bottom, that's really nice. I like the fluorescent pink, and you've got a sort of darkness from the blue that is coming from before, which is nice as well. Yay! Okay, so if I was doing this, I would carry on doing that face repeatedly to fill the whole thing, but I'm not going to because that's boring. So I'm just going to try out some different shapes, and I'm going to try some overlaying as well. Overlaying of different. It's all going a bit messy here now. It's very important to have a nice, neat space, which I'm clearly not demonstrating here. Let's take this down. What are we on? 19 minutes. Oh no, it's going to happen again. Oh well. I'm obviously just incapable of doing it at 20. Damn, bang on 20. So triangles. I'm just going to show you some triangles because they're just nice, simple repeat patterns. So I'm just going to get my paintbrush like I've been doing, paint some green, da-de-da, and just do some. Let me see. There. Do some repeats. And that green sucks up, the material sucks that green up straight away, so I'm just going to keep reapplying the green. Matches my penny. So, green, 3 green triangles. I'm just going to show you what I mean by upside down repeat thing. 3 green triangles. Yeah, and then wipe it with or maybe I'll do a different shape. No, I'll just wipe it. Just got a wet cloth here and I'm just wiping off the ink so that I can put some pink on and it doesn't go brown. Pink. Green and pink is such a lovely combination. I love, especially fluorescent pink. That's probably a bit too thick, but I'll give it a go. And then I'm just going to go the other way up with my triangle, in between these ones like that, and just slightly off to the right. And do that. Right. It's not tight enough, this fabric, so it's going really strange. 1, 2, 3. So you can imagine if you had a whole sheet of that, can you see? A whole piece of fabric with that would look really, really quite nice. And you just get a sort of, it's just a nice way to come up with patterns for things. There's lots of ways you can alternate. And a good way to do, like you could cut horizontal lines and then vertical lines and alternate them. But I'm not going to show you that now because it will just go on forever otherwise. So I'll say goodbye at 22 minutes, which is, I think, the same as last week. Anyway, here's goodbye for me and my potatoes, and see you next week. Bye!